everybody. How are you? How are you, Angie? How are you, Bruce?
I'm good. I
Well,
was wondering if you were on mute for a second. I was like, I panicked. You're still dancing.
no, no, I actually just wanted the music to run a little bit longer, so I played chicken. Played chicken with our producer. But anyway, guys, welcome back to Serving Up Success with a Splash. I'm Dr. Nutej Desange, and I'm joined by
Angie Snowball, the Renaissance woman.
Bruce
and
Kramer, the corporate cockroach.
Love the
was
art.
he? Did he behave himself last week, Angie, when I was off? I
Okay,
didn't get
I
to
don't
see
have
him.
to answer that, Najesh. You
I,
know I
I
Yeah,
don't.
we
started
did
drinking just a little before this.
We should not be left
No.
unsupervised.
Thank you for joining, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, let me tell you before I hand over to Angie for what the drink's going to be. What's the topic? The topic is how to prepare for AI. We've done two shows on AI already, so we thought we better talk about how to prepare for AI as an individual and as a professional, because it affects everybody as we've been finding out over recent weeks and months. But Angie, you've got a very simple drink for us tonight, haven't you?
I
What is it?
know. I don't have to make anything. It was choose your own red wine. Choose your own wine. We let Bruce have Hampton Waters, but I am drinking Cooper and Thief. It's a red blend. It's from California, and one of the reasons I love it is it's aged for 3 months in bourbon barrels. So it's very unique. Like,
Wow.
it's my two favorite things: red wine and bourbon. So
Well, you all know I've been steeped in music, so I drink this Hampton water. And for those that are unaware, for anybody that's a big John Bon Jovi fan, it's his son and him have developed this new rosé, and it's not so new anymore. It's been around a couple of years. Best rosé ever, in my opinion. But cheers, everybody.
yeah, well, we like it too. Bruce and Natej and I sampled several bottles of it a few months ago. It's
We
very
liked it.
good.
We did like it. We did like it. The only disappointing thing was that it ran out before we had finished drinking it. Um, and I will have a glass of red wine, and mine will be a Douro Valley Portuguese red. Very bold, very smooth, 16.5%. I was going to say it's one of my favorite red wines, but I have so many favorite red wines now that it's honestly, who
Just a great
knows?
one.
Well, and I have to say, not only is the doctor, how can I say this? But he's one hell of a wine connoisseur. The
Yeah.
first time I
I,
met him
oh
was
no,
in
I'm a wine
Miami.
drinker.
That was the best bottle of red wine I had. Both my wife and I will acknowledge that. So whenever you're around the Tej and you're out, let him order the wine.
I know. I couldn't believe he
Yeah,
even looked at us like, what did we want? Well, we went to that nice restaurant. I'm like, dude, this is 100% you. We are anxiously anticipating what you're going to get for us, which was also delicious.
Mhm.
well, I'm very happy to choose, guys, as long as you keep paying. That's the deal. Yeah, I'm
Deal.
happy to pretend to be the wine connoisseur just so you guys keep paying. I love it. Okay, listen, guys, let's get into the topic because we have a lot to talk about this week. So, how to prepare for AI. We've talked a lot about AI. I know we've done only two shows, but it's seeped into other shows. But it's not really just about the professional world. It's about being an individual. Healthcare, education, things that we consume as families and individuals, they are changing because of artificial intelligence. And as a professional, some jobs are disappearing, some jobs are being reinforced. We got to know what we're doing here. So why don't we start, refresh ourselves a little bit? Angie, I'll pick on you to begin with. Why don't we just start with this first segment in how to prepare for AI, just reminding ourselves what exactly AI is and how it's affecting what industries. If you've got some examples of industries that it's affecting, but just tell us what is
Yeah. So
AI?
basically, he's like, Angie, just do the whole episode for us and then let us know when you're done. No,
Yeah,
but
could
I
you do
think
that, Angie?
No, well, we talked about before, AI is help. We're using it to augment, is what we should be doing, augment what we're doing. Artificial intelligence, obviously, is what AI does. And there's so many different ways we're doing this. You can, as simple as your co-pilots and chat GPTs and Gemini, to unique ones like Otter and Perplexity, Deepers. So what it is a million different things, but at the end of the day, it's helping make our lives easier. And that to me is what we really want to talk about today, is because in order to prepare for AI, the first thing we have to do is not be afraid of it, and not see, oh man, it's taking jobs away, because it is taking jobs away. Dr. Isley was talking about manufacturing, and it's taking a lot of these, put on the nut and the bolt and the line, assembly line jobs are going to go away if they haven't already. But we need, and that is going to happen, but it's happened before. And the workplace changes and morphs, and there's new jobs and there's new opportunities. But in order to have those, you're going to have to be ready to embrace it. I this week, and I hope they're not listening, so I won't name their name, but I was at a meeting and there was a marketing lady there, and one of this other person, like a healthcare person, something said, oh, I just use chat GPT. And the marketing lady's like, oh my God, no, never use chat GPT. I can't believe it. Marketers will tell you never use it. And I sat there with myself and thought, your company will be dead in 6 months. If you are a marketer that is not embracing AI, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. I mean, the fear that you have, and you're wasting all this time. I mean, I'm going to be able to do, 20 clients in the time she does one, because I use AI as a tool. You don't get straight AI from me, but I use it as a tool. And that's why I can do everything so effectively. I use it for creativity. I use it for routine things. I use it for a lot of different pieces, not afraid to play. And I think that's one of the things we can do to get ready. Nobody's stopping me. Somebody should stop me. I'm just talking.
Angie, I'm going to stop you because it was a joke when I said, "Can you do the whole show?" It was just a joke. Can you not do? Can I be really clear? Please don't do the whole show. Can you give me and
Damn
Bruce to
it.
go? Because you're behaving like Bruce now. What's going on with you two? I take a week off. I take a
Might
week
have
off, and
started early too.
oh my God, you two. I'm going to have to speak to security about you two. We're gonna have to press a button. Security
I,
team's
you
coming.
know,
I am so glad I'm so glad Bruce. Just as it's gonna. I just love the way you actually introduced that or answered that question. And I'll tell you why. It's because if you there are dangers, there are difficulties, there are unknowns with AI, but you really put it out there that you've got to embrace it. There's no hiding from this one. There isn't a corner of the world that you can go to hide. So there is only one plausible solution to deal with it, and that is to first embrace it. And that came out loud and clear, Angie. I really thank you, Bruce. Sorry, I just wanted to say that before
no,
before
I
you came in.
you,
Go ahead.
you stole some of my thunder. But anyways, the other thing is, make no mistake about it, AI has been around a while. If you've heard of Siri,
Yeah.
Alexa, how about Google Maps? This stuff's been coming for a while. It's now coming full, it's coming head on. And so that's all I'm gonna add to it, but it's not to be feared. That's what's critical. And to Angie's point, every time I hear a business partner or a client of mine or whatever poo poo, they're just afraid. I
Yeah,
mean, or they're not willing to acknowledge that their livelihood is going to change. And
yeah,
instead of acknowledging that and say, how can I change with it? They're putting up the sign, oh, you don't want to use that. Why, and you said it great, Angie. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but there is no choice but to get on the bus. Because if you don't get on, you're going to end up under the bus.
Yeah, and if you're
yeah.
talking
Bruce.
about it like that, you're coming off as a curmudgeon. I mean, you're no longer innovative at the front of technology, and who wants to hire somebody that is in the dark ages? Nobody wants to hire a dinosaur. You know what I mean? Even if you get these guys that are like brilliant, they've got all this experience or whatever, there comes a point where like, I can't work with you. You live in a different world than me. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important that people watch what they say about it too, because you are your brand. And that comes from getting a job too, not just being a business owner. If you're out there and you're working in this manufacturing space and you're poo-pooing, I like that word, Bruce, that's cute. If you're poo-pooing the AI that came in to like take over a mundane task, you're telling your boss, hey man, I'm not ready for new things. I'm not ready for change. Guess what happens to you? You go to the back of the line when it comes time for promotions and new things because they know you're not down for it or out. Yeah, gone.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I want to just do quickly is just really put some meat on the bone, sector by sector. Pick a few sectors. I made a few notes here, sector by sector. So healthcare. How does it affect healthcare? Well, it affects it in diagnostics. AI can diagnose. It can take large data sets and predict both individually and for a large population size who is liable, who has the propensity to get certain illnesses. AI does that. Drug discovery. Everybody must have read recently that AI invented or created a new drug, in record time, in months. Patient monitoring. AI can help with patient monitoring with either a wearable or an embeddable. A wearable is a watch, an embeddable is something that's embedded in your person. Finance, fraud detection. You have no idea how banks and investment firms can do fraud detection now. How they do customer support, retail and marketing. You've just talked, Angie, a lot about it. Personalized ads, dynamic pricing, and customer insights. It's all driven by AI data and analytics. Transport, autonomous vehicles, route optimization, dynamic route optimization. You're going one way and AI tells you, even though AI told you to go that way, no, let's now go a different way. But it's not all the hard stuff. It includes creative fields. It includes, we talked about marketing, but content generation for academia, video editing for film. It's everywhere. There isn't a corner that is immune to this. And I love the way you two are speaking about this, because it's not as though we've all agreed in past shows and in this show that there are downsides and dangers and difficulties that we have to watch with AI. But we know that it's here. We know that it's here permanently. AI is never going away, right?
No, I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. And there's been so much written how AI is coming. I got news for you. It's already the baseline.
Yeah. I
It's
like what
not a
Bruce
nice to
said.
have.
It's
It's
already
not a
here.
nice to have. It's
Yeah.
now, it's a baseline
Yeah.
in about just about every single industry. And if we look closely, every time you go to Netflix, every time you click on, AI is giving you all kinds of recommendations. AI is all around us, whether you're in the workplace or at home. It's now a baseline.
Yeah. I
Well said,
agree.
Bruce. And I think maybe I want to end this segment before we go to the next segment with Angie, or before we go to break, and then Angie picks up the next segment. So, in the topic is how to prepare for AI. First thing is acknowledge it and embrace it and take the first baby steps.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's got to be the unambiguous message from the three of us, right? That
Yep.
acknowledge it, embrace it, and take the first steps.
Have fun with it. It's also
Have
Yeah.
fun
fun.
with it.
Play with
Totally.
it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Angie, you are up next talking about, what are you talking about? You're talking about careers and work
I'll
and
surprise
stuff
you
like that.
when we get back.
You're surprised. Okay. Okay. All right. Jesse, well, take us away to break so that
Welcome back, everyone. Natej, you better get on it, man. Bruce is out doing your dance moves. The women are going to start talking about him. He looks
We're gonna have
tired.
to
do you know,
start. We're gonna
do you
have
know
to
what?
start choreographing the moves.
Do you know, I just realized when I was looking at you two, I was thinking, oh, those two are dancing again. And then looked at myself, thought, oh my God, I'm dancing. I think I was just bobbing to the music and
That's
not
funny.
realizing, but yeah. Okay, I'll do better. I'll do better, Angie. I promise.
Yes, please do better. All right. So back to discussion. We are going to talk a little bit about careers because that's where this matters. Like Bruce said, it's already in our regular lives a lot. Can be more in our regular lives. Just planned a trip to Asheville and Savannah. I was like, hey man, tell me where to go for lunch and which waterfall to stop off at, and it was amazing. So we can do that, but it's going to be really important in our careers because that can start affecting our pockets, right? Like if you're not getting that promotion, or as Bruce said, you're out because you're not changing with the times, that's going to affect you, right? That's bottom line. So, what are some things that we can do? I think Natej hit the nail on the head. The first thing is let's talk about which industries are changing and which way. For me, I already gave the example. It's marketing. And you can't tell people that you're not going to use AI. You can't tell people don't use Chat GPT. You must use me for copywriting. That's just stupid. And that's not going to give you a good reputation, right? So don't do that. But what we can do is explain to them how we use it, explain to them how I start with ideas and then I mold it to you. Explain that, guess what? I can now give you more content because it takes me less time to make it because I have tools that are helping me, or to post it, like using HubSpot, scheduling Buffer, using things to schedule. All those are in a lot of the Facebook, LinkedIn, they have those built into their own app too. So you don't have to be fancy and have these scheduling tools. So that's something that we can do is learn those scheduling tools, get in there, choose one, play with it, lots of free trials, things like that. So that's one example of what we can do in marketing. But I'm going to put this one to Bruce because he's had that most. Look at his face. That's why I really did it because I love to see his face when you tell him that. No, I want to put this to Bruce because he spent so much time in corporate and, had a lot of the hiring, the firing, worked with HR because I think there's a lot of things changing in the corporate world, all the pieces, but two of the big ones I think are the HR role of the HR department, like how they're filtering people and what they're looking for. It's a different set of criteria than it used to be. And then the other thing that I see, and Bruce, I need your guidance here because you're the man, you're the corporate cockroach, but I see management changing. The amount of management, lack of jobs, what happens to the middle managers that are getting cut out? Do they get demoted? Do they get pushed out? And what do they do to secure a place somewhere, even if it's not going to be with the company they're with right now?
Wow.
You're
I
welcome.
know we should start scripting this so I can be better prepared.
Good luck
All
getting you to
right. So
follow
my
it.
first answer, now more than ever, and again, they use AI to scour all of the social media when they're interviewing somebody or contemplating bringing them on board. So they have access to everything that you've ever put on social media. They're looking for, first and foremost, evidence that you can learn. Because the ability to learn and to continue to learn quickly is now needed more than ever. The second thing I would say comes down to, we had an episode on this as well, emotional intelligence. They want people that are good, are capable of managing relationships, building trust. That's going to be real critical because things are going to start moving really quickly. And do you trust the direction we're headed in? And so they want people that are good in relationships, that can build trust, have that level of empathy. The other thing is, can you motivate people? Because we've already started the conversation where there's people pushing back on this. They're looking for people that can lead and align their teams to the reality of what AI is. And more importantly, invite the team in on helping better understand how can we as a group apply AI, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in product management, supply chain. They're looking for people that can work together in solving challenges, problems, etc. And I would say the last thing is, we talked about trust. How ethical are you? Because when applying AI, things can go south in a hurry if the motivation is less than moral, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I think, because complex problem solving has been around forever. Even learning to some degree has been a big thing they look for. But the pace of change is unparalleled with the introduction of AI. Did I
I just
answer
read
that?
that. Yeah, no, it was good. And one of the things you said, I just read earlier today in a little clip of something I was going through on LinkedIn, was that leaders used to be a good leader came with answers. And the definition is totally changed. A good leader comes with questions. Like,
Yeah,
That's
and the other
brilliant.
thing
Yeah.
the other thing I want to point out is, they used to, years ago, they had all kinds of ratios, like for every 10 people, there's a supervisor. Those ratios have gone out the window
oh
because with the
yeah.
use of AI tools, you can cover a lot of territory. And that's why they say middle management is being threatened, because communications, everything's been put on steroids. You don't need somebody overseeing. There are tools and things within AI that'll track everything for you, performance of all types. And so but we often talk about entry level. Forget that. Upper levels, and this Dr. Isley talked about, upper levels of management are being threatened as well, because knowledge is now at everyone's fingertips.
Right.
It's not that person that's been there for 40 years, worked their way up. I'm talking about me. That's been, that time to learn and grow has been cut in half. So what, Bruce? You've been there 40 years. I can access your knowledge in a couple of clicks now.
Yeah, I
And
wonder
that
about
is
that too.
scary.
Like, if
That
you
is
ever
scary.
It is. Have you ever worked with that person that you come in, you're somewhat intimidated, like, okay, this guy's great at his job. He's the god of whatever aspect. And the longer you're there, they're like, this guy's hiding behind a whole bunch of bullshit spreadsheets and he is just putting points on charts and he has no idea what the hell he's doing. Like, those people are so gonna get caught out now. Like, I'm like, I wonder what happens to those people. Like, they can't, you come and find out they didn't really have any skill. They had the art of bullshit. Now it's like, sorry, AI is checking everything you do. Like, you can no longer hide. And that's where I'm going with the question to Natej is we can't hide behind a lack of skills. Like, people, I mean, not saying people like everybody does, but there are people that did that, and some people not even knowing they were doing it. I think some people thought they were at this level. I'm like, no, you're not even close to where you need to be. So turning to academia, and I know Vidiri, one of the reasons I like Vidiri is because they do very hands-on and make sure everything's relatable and they're always up to the minute stuff. But what type of things do we look for in educating ourselves, whether it's a formal education or informal? When we do have to have these skills. Nobody can BS these skills anymore. They got to be there. How do we get them? How do we know what they are? And how do we know that we're in a program or with a coaching, mentoring, workshop, whatever we're doing, that we're getting them? What would your advice be for that, Natesh? Doctor.
So, great question. Absolutely, fantastic question. And I want to go back to the question you asked to Bruce to answer it. Really, you asked him, well, what sort of things do you need to do and have? And I think I want to answer that in a slightly different way. Bruce's, detail was spot on, but I think my answer is to both questions that what is AI good at? Don't compete with it.
That's good.
Okay. So what is AI? What is it? What is it that AI can't do or needs some human intervention? Do that. Do those things where AI isn't, you're not in competition with AI. So don't do repetitive, monotonously repetitive things. To your point, Don't do things where a human may have been shy to catch you out, but AI will catch you out.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't talk in circles. Don't talk in circles and present documents to cloud the issue. AI will catch you out, and AI won't be polite. It won't be
Right.
programmed to be. It won't be programmed to be polite. Do jobs. Jobs are disappearing, but there are other jobs which are appearing. AI trainers, who's talked about. That's a job that's appearing. Human AI collaboration specialists. That's a job that's appearing. Um, using here's another one. Combining different platforms of AI and creating a new platform. That's another job that's appearing. Um, um, AI-driven healthcare monitoring. That's another job that's appearing. You don't need to be a doctor to do AI healthcare monitoring because what you're doing is you're monitoring a large number of individuals. So I think be smart about it. How to prepare for AI. Don't take on AI. Prepare to do the
That's good.
things
Don't
which
take on.
AI can't do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'll wrap us up and send us a break, and Bruce will come back. But as he's saying that, don't take on AI. The other thing about the jobs that we are being created from AI, I love the person that's going to coach you on AI because yeah, it's great. But like Chat GPT, I love it. It's my best friend, but it will lie to me unless I tell it not to. You have to know what to prompt it with. You have to know you're also only getting as good as you put in. So you have to ask the right questions. There's jobs now for trainers like that and for people to help you integrate the right systems, choose the right AIs, what's going to make all this flawless for you. So those are really good answers. And then when we come back, we're going to let Bruce talk. He gets his own segment and he can talk as much as he wants. So
On segment three. This segment's going to talk a little bit about the mindset, skills, and tools. So it's pretty rich. But before I do that, I have a quick story that was prompted by Nitesh. He had mentioned that AI will actually kind of call you out. I just did this a few weeks ago. In fact, we talked a little bit about it last week. But as I was preparing to talk about, how to stand out in the crowd, how to create your brand, one of my colleagues had said, you know how you want to know that? Just have AI write your obituary. Well, what I did is I had a client um, that, were working on branding. And so I wanted to run an obituary on my client. And I came back, is this person still alive? Why would you do this? It's creepy. And it used the word, you're a creeper. Basically,
AI
AI
called
was
Bruce a
calling me a
creeper.
creeper. So I had to give an explanation.
You're officially a creeper in large language models everywhere.
Yes, yes. It actually said it's creepy.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
so I
It's not
had to give
wrong.
the context. I was doing it from a branding. If you want to know what your brand is, if you were to die tomorrow, how would you be remembered? And once I did that, then it went through. But it actually stopped me. All right, enough on that. But it
That's
was
funny.
it was
That-
hilarious because I kind of
I'm
it
glad that's
jolted
a
me.
great story. It's hilarious. It's scary, but also AI hallucinates and lies, of course, but AI is not going to be as polite as humans and
Yeah,
say, "Oh, yeah, you did a
that's
yeah,
true.
you did an okay job. Yeah, you did a good job there. No, you did a you yeah, that was a 3 out of 10 job, is what AI is going to say.
I asked mine if I was boring because I'm writing for a difficult
Oh
company.
my God, you two are so creepy.
No, it
You
was
asked
funny
your
that I was like, I asked it because I wrote it and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I feel like it's boring, but it was just so factual. It was hard to be
oh, it
creative.
is.
So I
Right.
asked it, I'm like, is this too boring? And it came back, it says, yes, please try again. Okay, you try
So
again, bitch. Getting mad
so
at it.
as it relates to the mind shift changes, there is no need to fear AI. I think we may have created a little fear in one of our episodes. Just be curious. We've also talked about that in prior episodes because you know what? the only thing AI is going to do for you is improve your capabilities. If you learn AI, play with it, it can only help you. So stop fearing it. Second thing, like we talked about, a fix to a growth mindset, you have to remain adaptable and in learning mode. AI can actually help you with that. The other thing is, it's not about perfection at all. I was telling somebody the other day, for the first time in like almost going on 50 years, I feel like a kid. I feel like a kid with the
That's fun.
advent of AI because I get to play. And
Yeah.
it and when I screw up, it tells me I screw up. But guess what? It's in the privacy of my home with a cocktail and I'll take the beating. But
It's
but
in a
it,
large language model everywhere, Bruce. Everybody knows. You put it out into the ether,
well,
everybody
well,
knows.
but you can experiment very comfortably. The other thing is, treat it as your partner. And I think we gave a bunch of examples of that. Angie, I can tell you is not boring. Um, but as Dr. Natesh
Exciting.
said too, it's a partner. Let it take over all of those tedious
Great
tasks
word.
you don't
Great word.
like and
Yeah.
focus on the more fun stuff, the strategy, the things it can't do. That was the best I've ever heard, Dr. Natesh. Don't do what AI is really good at. Just move away from it. Um, the other thing is when we get into the specific skills, and I want to go to this right away. The first thing is just start playing with AI. The simple things like Chat GPT, Angie rattled off. Just start playing. It will help you build your skills in AI because it'll give you immediate feedback. The other thing was this prompt engineering. And again, I'm going to give credit for Angie knowing the right questions to ask. Well, if you're not playing with it, you're not going to learn that. But it's called prompt engineering as one of the key technical skills you need. AI literacy, which I just covered. The other thing is data analysis interpretation. You now have a friend you can enlist. There is caution because it isn't always 100% accurate, but it's getting pretty damn good. So those would be specific technical skills. And I'm going to turn it over to Nitesh and Angie to add to this list. The non-technical things, it can't replace empathy, trust, and leadership. It can't. And I got to tell you, in all business, it all comes down to relationships. I don't care what business you're in, how you interact with others. Are you a good team member? Do you enhance the contributions of the team? That stuff, AI is going to need that. It's going to need that. Critical thinking, the ability to know when AI is bullshitting you.
Yeah.
Creativity, you can now spy with it. And back to your thing about the um, uh, marketing, it is great to say, I'm trying to think of a clever quip to use,
Yeah.
in this
Taglines,
product. Oh my God, it'll rattle
pitches.
off 100.
Hmm.
And then it'll say to you, do you want me to put it in a marketing slick? I mean, play with it. Play with it. And so those are some of the big highlights in terms of specific tools. Now, how do you start? And then we're going to come back through this. How you start is they're recommending you start with things like ChatGPT, Notion, AI, Jasper, et cetera, et cetera. Um, it also says just try one thing you do every week that's repetitive, whether it be, crafting an email or whatever you do. Start small with AI. Learn one tool real well. And I'm going to say I'm probably the least in terms of expertise of this group we've got on that's hosting, but I highly recommend like a Chat GPT tool because it actually guides you as to where you would go next in your
Yeah.
learning, but really learn how to use something that can instantaneously give you feedback, give you research, give you data. Start and really learn that well.
So
Um,
Bruce, Bruce,
Go
just to
ahead.
cut in,
Yep,
how did you
absolutely.
start? How did you start? Is that how you started learning about
Well,
AI?
how I started learning about it is when, I got into coaching and I'm like, God, I hate taking notes. And there were like 101 tools like Phantom, Read AI, that during my conversations that I do via Zoom, it not only records the meeting in terms of video, but it
Yeah,
gives me all of the highlights and the action items, who's been assigned, and when is it due. I'm like,
yeah,
and so I started using those simple tools that were just out there saying, being pushed at me to make me
mm,
more productive. Well, it wasn't until I really got into ChatGPT that I realized I had a partner, that the AI goes well beyond some of these very simplistic tools. As Angie pointed out, it'll give you opinions on things. May
Yeah.
or may not be accurate, but that's so let me say I kind of I talked about the mindset shift. I talked about the technical skills, the non-technical, and how do you start? And there's also a colleague of mine that wrote an article on AI that said in the first time in a long time, you get to play again, and this time it's in real time. You get to learn. Don't just leverage AI for the things you know. That thing that you don't do very well at, in fact, you kind of suck at it, work with AI and see if, you might not ever become an expert, but it's gonna, so work with AI on stuff that you don't know. And it's just fun to get the gears in your mind. It teaches you to learn.
Or like you said,
So,
the things that we do know, but we know we don't like it. So, like for example, it takes me a long time to do something I don't like, whereas I know there are people out there that are good at it and they can do it in 15 minutes. Same with me, other way around. I have a lot of clients that are great writers, but they just don't like it. So it will take them 3 hours to schedule posts for the month, and it takes me half hour, you know? So if you're going to jump into something you don't like, jump into something that takes you an hour or 2 hours a week to do, and ask chat or Gemini, pick whatever one's on your phone, right? It doesn't have to be
yeah.
specific, and ask it. Just say, hey, I hate doing this. It takes me 2 hours. What can you do to make this easier on me? And it will guide you through like the questions to ask and what to do. And then you immediately get that feeling of like, huh, I just got an hour back. This isn't so bad. Huh, this has got 2 hours back. And I feel like that's very motivating to like make you want to get into it, is because it's always everything we do in life is about rate of return, right? Like, what am I getting back out of our ROI? What am I getting back out of what I'm investing? So I think if you choose something that's taken you a long time that you don't care for, and try to get AI to do that, you immediately get this kind of surge of like, okay, that's cool. What can I do next? And another one I think is a good challenge for people that want to get started with this is when you get stuck. And Bruce and I talked about this a little bit in one of the other ones, but like it's a great thing for when you get stuck. The greatest writers in the world have had writer's block. And now we have this automatic tool to get over it. I mean, I just sat there and I'm like, chat, I do not feel like writing today and I have something due tomorrow. And it's like, okay, what do you got to write about? And I was telling it, and it goes, well, how about this? I'm like, I don't know. Give me 10 wild ideas of how I could do this. And then it gave me, these 10 wild points, all of which were crazy as hell and I didn't use, but they got me out of my stuck zone. So I think that's another
mm,
good way to use it. Things you don't like that you're going to save you time. So you feel like, okay, that was a good rate of return. I'm going to go in on it. And also places you get stuck, because that's another one that says, oh, all right, cool. I'm not stuck anymore. I think those are good motivating ways to get into it.
Natesh,
Yeah.
we got like a
yeah,
minute, but
Bruce.
Yeah, he's got 15 minutes after that.
Yeah, no, no, we got time. We got time. I think these are all perfect and great examples. I'm not sure that I can, add anything more to that. What I will say is just the one thing to add is that the best use of any form of ChatGPT, any AI, ChatGPT, Claude, any of them is whether you like, I take Angie's point about not doing it if you do getting AI to do the things you don't like, but B, have some knowledge in the area, have some expertise in the area. If you are a realtor, um, don't get AI to do stuff, legal stuff,
Right.
because you don't really. Now, Angie's a marketeer. She's getting AI to do stuff which she doesn't like, but it's in the marketing realm. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Don't try to be a water pollution engineer.
Yeah. No,
If
that's right. Because
if
you can,
you
if it's
if you're
something
a
you know,
mountaineer,
yeah, you
yeah.
can still judge whether it was really right or not. You know what I mean?
Gotta you if you want to see it as an augmenter rather than a replacer, as
Yeah.
a partner rather than a replacer, then you've got to use it with something you have expertise in, so it can augment your own expertise. That's the one thing I'd add to what you guys have said.
Yeah, that's good.
The only other thing I'd add to, unless you're just playing, like you don't like, I've always
Yeah.
been intrigued by poetry. Oh, you should see some of my poems now. Because
Wow.
if you check, but trust me, I'm not going to win any of, and I agree 100% with Dr. Nitesh. I am not playing with it from an expertise. I'm just playing with it for lack
Because
of
you
a
want
better
to
term, shits and
creativity.
giggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some some creativity. Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
And I
great.
yeah,
think that's
just
good as long as you know that that's why you're doing it, right? You know, you're not like Natasha had a great example.
yeah,
If you're a realtor, let me not go into legal stuff, but you could go in as a realtor and be like, hey, tell me about what's the greatest
yep,
neighborhood in this area and why would it be fun to live there and play with it a little bit more, like stuff like that. You just don't want to be in a spot where you're using
yeah,
real expertise that even comes down to compliance and you don't know if it's right or wrong.
yeah.
Guys, by the way, do we have to go to break? I can't get over I'd never noticed you guys dancing before, and tonight I've noticed you guys dancing. It's good.
Well,
Life
I
Um,
was
is
trying to do the
contagious.
Dr. D.
I know it's
oh, is that
contagious.
what you're doing? Okay. Uh, I'm gonna do different. Okay, I'm gonna do different dances from now on. I'm gonna just shake it up a little bit. So our final segment. So we're going to talk about ethics. We're going to talk about personal stuff, and we're going to talk about future perspectives. I'm going to begin with future perspectives. I want to get ready, guys. I'm going to fire some questions at you. Um, future scenarios. Angie, future scenarios. Um, let me give you the introduction. I think we need to approach AI with a balance of optimism, which we have done
Yeah.
this evening, and caution, which we did on a previous show. There was a lot of caution on a previous show, and tonight we balanced it out with a lot of optimism. But there needs to be a balance. So, give us your personal stance on realistic future scenarios. Where is there possibility for opportunity? Where is there possibility for disruption? Yeah, where do you think that
Well,
the
you guys have
game?
full permission to make fun of me on this one because this is
Okay.
something that I think is kind of crazy. In fact, it was going to be one of my questions to you guys is like in 10 years, what do you think we'll laugh about? Because like I see as a kid, I don't know, I guess I'm dating myself. I don't know if you guys watched, but like the Jetsons, right? It was this cartoon show and they lived in space and they had,
Yeah.
flying cars and stuff. But they also had teledoc, they had moving sidewalks, they had things that are real now, right? When I was a kid, they were so futuristic and I was like, oh my God, they'll never be real. So sometimes I think about these movies where like AI takes over and like they don't let you out of your spaceship or out, don't let you out of your house or it takes over things. It becomes intelligent. And what happens? I kind of wonder like, how will we? What if that happens, right? I mean, 30 years ago, I never thought the Jetsons would be real. What if 30 years from now, these robots are taking over the world, right? But it's weird to like embrace it and not be afraid of it. But realistically, I just don't see, as my daughter would say, no cap on this stuff. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
I don't, it could go anywhere. And it's all
Yeah.
happening so fast. I think it's really uncharted territory that I guess I'm not ruling anything out in the future.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
10
What
years ago, I
about
would have. 10 years ago, I'd have been like, that's ridiculous. No, I don't
Yeah.
think anything's ridiculous.
I think the words you use, I love those words. It could go anywhere. It could go. Remember we talked about the Star Trek versus the Terminator
Yeah,
scenario in
exactly.
that episode. So it could go anywhere. But specifically, Bruce, coming to you then, specifically, what are the opportunities for disruption? The show's about preparing for AI. So we've talked about how people can prepare as mindset. Talk about some of the actual opportunities in the future opportunities that you could see.
Oh man. Well, I first got to get my disruption one out there.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a great separation, unlike any time in the history of the world, between those that operate from a knowing position versus those that operate from a
Yeah.
learning position.
Yeah.
That gap is going to grow exponentially. And
Mm.
as we pointed out in the last episode, what are we going to do with all these people? Because I
Yeah.
worry that sometimes academics has been all about the testing. Can you memorize? Can you repeat? It wasn't always so much, can you learn? How quickly can you learn? And that goes to having traits like being very curious, etc. That gap is going to grow so quickly that we have to figure out how are we going to handle that. So that's my doom and gloom. Opportunities, sky's the limit for
Yeah.
those that are curious. And
Mm.
so I
But
see,
in, but in what but in what way? In precisely what way?
leadership.
Uh,
For those,
okay.
this change is gonna, like I said, it's gonna disrupt, and it's really gonna create a big gap, as I just pointed out. Those that are able to communicate, develop relationships, and help people learn through this curve. I mean, we're talking real leadership, and leadership begins. Do you care? Do you care? And for those leaders that never really gave a shit about people, they just,
Mm.
wanted to climb the ladder, they are going to crash and burn like never before. But those leaders that care about bringing people along, oh, you are going to be in such demand. You are going to thrive. And
And
it's not
honestly,
based,
I think that's why you're in demand. We're in demand is because we can teach
yes,
people how to do that.
that's
As the
exactly
world
what we
starts
do.
to lose empathy and lose connection with authenticity and realness, and people lose their ability to connect and build real relationships, people in coaching positions like us are going to be more in demand because we're able, those leaders that you're talking about, Bruce, that are going to crash and burn, we're able to help them not. We're able to help them
Yes.
build the skills that they want.
Yeah, we're all about bringing people along.
Yeah.
Those people that can bring people along in whatever industry you're in through this AI curve, which is only going to accelerate and pitch, those that can bring people along are going to be in such demand. And the people that are willing to come along and learn, oh God, I can't begin to fathom what some of the opportunities are going to be. You already talked about different levels of collaboration. I mean, I'm at a loss for words, which I know you guys uh,
I want to.
can't
Let
believe.
me just add we're a couple of minutes. So I wanted to just
Yeah,
add something, and then just one final question for you guys. So the I think the biggest two biggest gains for me opportunities are that AI is going to enhance so much has and continuously enhances productivity. Literally, that overused word exponentially. That embracing the time that it gives you to do other things is a key to future success. So preparing for those productivity gains. What are you going to do with those productivity gains? And the second one I want to talk about before I come to my final question. I know you got your finger up, Bruce, but I'm just ignoring it for a minute. Is the more you can be creative within the work you're doing. I do not mean in the creative arts. the more you can be innovative and creative, because that time you save, the time saved on productivity can be spent on innovation and creativity in the job you're doing. Bruce, you had a quick something, and then, but I'm already going to
Yeah.
ask you the final
Well,
question. I'm
and
already going to ask you the final question, which is, what's your key takeaway from tonight? But go ahead and say what you need to say.
Well, what I was going to say is we're talking at a very micro level too. We're talking about industries, individuals. Think of what this is going to do globally. This is going to separate countries like never before. The impact on the financial worldwide economy is going to be impacted like never before because you're going to see the countries that are very flexible, adaptable, can learn and want to learn and move forward. They are going to separate themselves like no tomorrow, and it's going to be a hell of a race. All right, my key takeaway was your very simplistic response. If AI is good at it, stay away.
I like that one. Yes. And mine would be just in order to prepare for it, embrace it, play with it, learn about it, and have fun with it. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, and I think mine was exactly the same actually. Mine is the first the way we started the show, Angie, when you started talking about just you didn't use these words, but it's it's here. You're going to have to deal with it, and if you don't, there isn't somewhere to hide. But although you didn't use those words, that's what I took away from it, and I think that's right. And optimism with caution, balance optimism and caution. That would be mine. So great show,
Fantastic.
guys. Well done.
Yeah.
Love seeing you.
You too.
Yes.
I
Good
love
to
it.
have you back, Dr. D.
I know. What are we doing next week, Bruce?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
What was it that we
To be
discussed?
determined. Now I forget. We'll let you know tomorrow.
Yes, yes. But stay tuned.
Stay tuned. It's going to be great. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be great.
Yeah.
All right. Until next week, then, thank you for tuning in and
Thank you, guys.
see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye bye.